Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Evan Hears Culture campaign. We're joined by a very special guest. She is a writer. She is an artist. She is a fashion icon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Claire Levine. How are you doing today?
I am good. I am just sitting in a chair that I found in our hallway in our building. It's used, but it's super comfortable and I am good. I am ready to talk about music.
Well, it's great that you're in that headspace because we're going to be talking about just a magnificent album, Fleet Foxes' 2011 album, Helplessness Blues. And I reached out to you to be on this episode because somewhere in my subconscious, I knew that Claire was a Fleet Foxes fan. I don't know how that seed got planted, but I just knew it to be true in my gut. Is that the truth?
I don't think it's the truth as much as your gut was telling you, because in my head when you were like, yeah, like you like Fleet Foxes, right? I was like, yeah, I do. Like I totally listened to them in high school. And then I went back and I was like, okay. And I went to their Spotify and I was like listening to their music and I was like, I recognize this and I like it, but like I don't think this was like my jam, but like I like it. And then when you told me like what album we were like gonna talk about, I like went to Spotify and listened to it like 3 times. I like put it on. I like my boutique job. I like put it on in the store and was like doing what I could do it. And it's nice because now that you told me that like we're gonna talk about it and I listened to it, now I really like it. I'm like, oh, this is a good album.
Well, that's great then that things still worked out. Were there a few tracks that you recognized as like, oh, these, I remember these from the high school days, or was it just all sort of, you recognized the sound and the vibe, but not the specifics?
Well, at first, when I listened to their like top 5 like on Spotify and like the winter hymnal
Yes.
one, I was like, I recognize this, like I know this one. But a lot of it I got like it kind of blends into like that like banjo indie music that I feel like I listened to a lot of in high school. So it's like kind of hard to like place. Like it reminded me of Mumford and Sons a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, this was that era where the
Yeah.
Mumford and Sons and all the alternative folk was
Yes.
coming into existence. I think maybe I'm just making that up.
I mean, that's when I found it. So I was like, yeah, this is when it just happened. It didn't exist before I found it, you know?
You brought it into being.
Yeah, I just like squeezed really hard and it just like showed up.
And this beauty came in. I will say about that top track on their top 5 that you mentioned, White Winter Hymnal.
It's so good.
Even though it's not on this album, I think we gotta just pay some lip service to that, because after listening to Helplessness Blues, I was like, well, I should listen to a little bit more of their music, and put on their debut album. It's the second track on there, and I heard that, and it was my mind was blown because I'd heard it before, like
yeah, me too.
But I'd heard it at various choir concerts of like high school choirs doing it, and I always assumed that it was like a traditional old English song. So
Yeah.
when I found out it was from 2008 and it was by Fleet Foxes, my mind was blown because I was following the pack, all swallowed in their coats with scarves of red tied round their throat. It just had such an old feeling to it, especially with the choirs doing their a cappella rendition.
If that was with a cappella and no music, that 100% sound like a very old song.
Yeah, I think there was a pentatonic
Yeah.
cover that really blew that song up. But that's kind of a nice segue into what's so awesome about Fleet Foxes and Helplessness Blues in particular, is that timeless quality. I think is one of the greatest assets they have going on, because it's like there's the sort of Simon and Garfunkel sensibility to the songwriting a little bit, and then the Beach Boys chamber pop harmonies, and then there's the third element coming from somewhere of the timeless Old English folklore, folk tale, themes that crop up time and time again on this album, which just untethers it from any sort of temporal reality. Pretentious thing.
You're so good at talking about music.
But yeah, I don't know. Should we talk about a general vibe, or should we get into some specific tracks? What do you?
I'll try and find my favorite one. 1 second. There's one where you probably know what it is. He like just goes all out vocally. He like goes all out. He like gets a really high note, and you can kind of hear his like raspy voice. And it like that's my favorite song on that album. Wait, let's see. Let me go to it.
The Shrine / an Argument. The in the morning.
Oh wait, it wasn't
my awful impersonation. I mean, every song's so epic that it's hard to narrow down.
I'm not remembering. Maybe it was the first. No, it's not the first one. It's not Montezuma.
Oh man, what I used to be. I've really internalized this album, I will say, because normally I try to do like 3 listens right before doing the episode, but I was trying to listen a little ahead a bit to get ideas of what to do when I reach certain episodes. So I first heard this back in August, even though we're just getting to it now. Wow. And I listened to it enough times to have Fleet Foxes appear as my 3rd most listened to artist on this.
No way. You're an expert compared to me. That's so funny.
Of this album and this album only.
Oh my God. Okay, so like you should just clone yourself and I'll be you, and we can talk about this together.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I'll
just
there we go. What do you think about the album? Oh my gosh, just an incredible piece of music.
Do you listen to Juan Waters?
Who?
Juan Waters.
Juan Waters. I'm not familiar.
You should, because it's kind of similar vibes. Like there's one song on here where like I think that he I don't think he has the best voice. I know that's bad. I know that's crazy. And that's like similar, I feel like, with Juan Waters. Like he's not really like a vocalist. Like isn't like he sings, but he's more of like a lyricist. Like he like his lyrics are amazing. But there's one song in here where like he doesn't sound that good, but for some reason I love it. Like I love that. Like I love that he's just singing and it sounds like he doesn't really care. Like I don't know if that's true, but like it's the fact that he's
I
don't know. I like that. I like when I hear
reading a little bit about Helplessness Blues. It's their original intention was to do a very raw, we're doing like one take of everything, and if there's fuck ups on the instruments, we're putting them in, and then they scrapped that entire idea. Kept it sort of for the vocals. They said of the vocals were done in one take, which I find somewhat hard to believe because the thing has such a maximalist quality to it. It really feels like nothing was. There's a rawness in the voice, but the fuck ups that he described as wanting to be in there, of the guitar, not hitting the right notes or whatever. I don't think it happened. I feel
like it didn't either. There's that one part in the album where it's like all these instruments like
yes.
And every time I hear that I like skip it. So I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I can't.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I believe it's at the end of The Shrine / an Argument, which is the album's epic. It's the 8-minute, long piece. And it ends with just a real ear fuck, as I suppose some people would call it. It was so epic up to that point, with all the talk of the kids at the shrine. and whatnot. And you know, in the morning. The only way I can describe this album is just to sing. And then it gets a bit quieter as he says, you know, green apples hang from my green apple.
Keep going.
They belong only to. And by the way, it's amazing that you can have a songwriter say things as silly as green apples hang from my green apple tree, and that you can emotionally invest in a line like that. And then it's quiet, and then it gets to that horrid instrumental mess that you're describing.
I don't know why artists do that. I do not like it. I'm usually, the way I listen to music is like background music, or if I'm walking somewhere. And so like if I'm walking somewhere, if I'm like working, I have it as like a way to calm myself. And whenever that came on, I was just like, I got angry. What the fuck is this?
I found a little quote from Robin Pecknold, who's the songwriter, lead singer. And he said, it may not be everybody's favorite song, and it may not sound good, but it's crucial to the emotional narrative of the album, he said. And I love the song. I mean, when I was first listening to the album and we got to a song and it's like 8 minutes, there is a part of you that's, these pretentious band think they can pull off a 8-minute song. And then I gave myself over to it and enjoyed it. But that's the one big sour note of the album for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he knows.
Yeah, he knows. I gotta go through some of my favorite tracks, and maybe you'll think of some of yours as well. But opening track, Montezuma, one of those things where, you know, turned it on, never heard Fleet Foxes before. Listened to the song, I was like, well, I gotta hit repeat, and I just gotta keep listening to this thing over, because from that first, you know, so now I am older than my mother and father, you know, just right away I was completely enveloped by the sound, by the tone, and that one starts hitting you with that old-fashioned feel, or at least old-fashioned, you know, terminology appearing in the lyrics, because you're hearing things like, you know, every piece of your dowry, throw it into, you know, dowry's coming up. I haven't heard dowry in a song in ages. You know, both the slave and the emperor will return to the. I mean, I just can't describe this album without singing every single lyric.
It's okay. I like it.
And that's one fun thing to note about, because the harmonies are going on and are so layered. You know, normally when I'm singing along with music, I'm usually an octave below and I'm messing up all the notes. But when those harmonies come in, somehow I'm right. The harmonies make it so I get to be right, because I'm the lower harmony. I'm there.
You should have been a Fleet Fox.
I'd love to be a Fleet Fox if they're looking for for whatever their next album's gonna be. Then I'd be down. Yeah. So Montezuma, incredible. I mean, they're all just so incredible. But the next real home run is the title track, "Helplessness Blues." I mean, I don't know what you thought of this, but just everything about it. I can't gush enough. I mean, if I had an orchard, I'd work till I'm sore. But I didn't think that time,
yeah, I like that one. And then I also figured out the song that I like. My favorite one is actually "The Shrine and Argument," but the beginning of it, not the end.
Not the end.
Okay, no. Well, wherever that like horrible orchestra clash is, not a fan of that. But the rest of it, like, that's like my favorite one, because I feel like you can like, I just love his voice in that one.
Yeah, he knocks it out of the park. You can't even see the park anymore. You're He knocks it out of the solar system, against gravitational forces. And you should check out have you seen the music video for that song?
No, I haven't. I watched it for the winter
Yeah.
that one, which is really cool, but not that one. Should I?
Oh yeah, it is animated by his brother, Sean Peck. This is an incredibly talented family because it's this amazing animation style that looks sort of like these cave paintings, and it stars it's like a bison or a wildebeest or something. And at the end, when that horrible dissonance part we're talking about, it's like getting eaten by this sea monster. And so it fits for the video. Blue Spotted Tail was another. That's the quietest song on the album. None of those big production beats in there. I think it's just, I don't think there's any harmonies or anything. It's why in the sky are the lights hung? Why is the earth moving round the sun?
Yeah.
Maybe I should just release a bunch of covers. It's just an incredible piece of music. I can't. I'm trying to find more synonyms.
Yeah, I don't know I don't really know what to say. Like, it was good. Like, I feel like I'm bad at talking about music. I'm just like, I like it or I don't.
And was what this
yes.
one.
This was a like.
Way. Yeah,
definitely like.
I think the thing. This is somewhat of a tangent, but it comes back in. I read an article recently. I realized that the guitar riff of "Smells Like Teen Spirit" is just the guitar riff for "More Than a Feeling," the Boston song. I found that fact somewhere. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It smells like it's the same thing as "More Than a Feeling." It's like the same riff. And I was reading an article where the guitarist of Boston, whatever his name is, said that he's like, yeah, I liked it. I listened to it. But I haven't heard any new music after 1974. And it just made me so sad because I feel like there's a bunch of people out there who, believe a bunch of people of a couple generations before us who are like, they don't make music for me anymore. They don't make music that I would like. And this is the album. Helplessness Blues is the album that I think all those people who have that, they don't make music for me anymore. People who loved that sort of the folk of the 70s and the 60s. This is the album that they would just eat up. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but
I do. I totally do. It does have that feeling.
It's out there. I mean, I guess it's difficult in that you have to search for it. You have to know where you're looking to find the music. If you were an old fogey looking for your taste, you have to know where to look for it, because you can't go up to the record store and have the guy telling you, have you heard this yet? Because the record store's gone.
Yeah, I know. Like, my mom doesn't know how to use Spotify. Like, she wouldn't know how to find this kind of music unless it just is recommended to her, like in her like freaking weekend like raps or whatever. She wouldn't know.
The weekend?
Yeah, what did I just weekend raps? That's not what I meant. I totally meant, what is it called when you they recommend you music? Discover Weekly. That's what I was thinking.
Discover Weekly, yes. Exactly. A brilliant service.
Yeah.
A brilliant stream. Well, I feel like I've gushed all there is to gush. Do you have any final thoughts on Helplessness Blues?
I guess I'm glad that you mentioned them to me, so that I could listen to their music again, because I was sitting here sewing today and listening to the album, and then I really liked it, obviously, and then after Spotify recommends you similar music, and so I was just listening to all this folk and just very chill, good feeling music, and I like started a new playlist, and it has like Father John Misty came up, and like other Dr. Dog and stuff like that. Yes.
Father John Misty is on this album. Did you know that?
What? I did not know that.
He's the drummer for this album. Josh Tillman.
What the heck?
Hence why he comes up.
Wait, that's so funny.
One final question. I wish there was more information available about this, but in the Wikipedia, it briefly mentions that the 5 years of working on the album, or the strain of working on the album, led to stress in Robin's relationship with his girlfriend of 5 years. And she ended up breaking up with him because of the stress it was causing, and then listened to the album when it came out and decided that they should try to work things out because she understood the stress it was causing. And it said it didn't pan out in the end, but is this an album that is so that if you were having, problems with a significant other and they released this album, would it sway you?
That's a really good question. I think that I would have to re-listen to it and imagine that was that person for me, because I don't know. Like, I'm totally more of like I said, background music, Yeah. So like, I feel like if I was in that situation, I would be sitting there like pay attention, actively listen to everything that he says. So I would have to do that. But my answer is a maybe, is a probably.
And with that, I think we should close out. It was great to have you on the show to talk about some Fleet Foxes who are nominated for a Grammy.
I saw that.
So we'll see if they win that. But before we know about that, do you have anything you want to plug, Claire? Anything that's coming up?
No, just, and I hope you're having a good time. And I love that you're doing this. This is so cool. I'm sorry. I feel like I was like not a good guest. Like I don't know how to talk about music, but
sometimes
I'm flattered.
If anybody is willing to sit there and hear me butcher the lyrics, the voice of Fleet Foxes, then they're an amazing guest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.